Hey y'all, welcome back to Dots and Beyond. I'm Beth. Today we're setting up my son's custom bullet journal for May. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin by peeking back at last month, April, which the theme was the buried. And the reason we're looking at this is because I have this brown paper at the bottom. And the antithesis of the buried is our next theme, which is going to be the vast. And so to contrast that brown paper at the bottom, I now have the blue paper coming down from the top. If you're new here, the Magnus Archives is a podcast from Rusty Quill, and today we are diving into the eerie realm of the vast. So picture this. You're standing on the edge of a vast open space, and suddenly you feel that creeping fear of your insignificance in the grand scheme of the universe. That's where the vast comes in. The entity's playground is the deepest fears of losing ourselves in the infinite expanse of space or the lonely depths of the sea. It's the fear of heights, falling into the abyss, or feeling utterly small in the face of something colossal. Think about those moments when you look up at the night sky and feel that overwhelming sense of vertigo. That's the vast whispering in your ear. It often takes the form of empty voids or monstrous beings so colossal that our puny human minds can't even begin to grasp their proper form. Imagine staring into the abyss and realizing how insignificant you are. That's the vast's signature move. So if you ever find yourself feeling too exposed under the open sky, remember, it might just be the vast playing tricks on your mind, reminding you of your own tiny place in the universe. The vast can also leave its mark. One of the avatars of the vast, Michael Crew, was forced to play in the rain by a childhood tormentor. While in the storm, Michael was struck by lightning. He survived, but was permanently scarred by a Lichtenberg figure. These natural given tattoos appear as branching electrical discharges or feathery-looking fern-like patterns. Here on the calendar page, I'm illustrating a Lichtenberg figure, starting off with larger, fatter veins using this blue gel pen. I'm going to get in all of the fatter veins first and then come in with some medium-sized veins. After that, we'll get a little bit thinner and a little bit thinner as we draw this scattered lightning Lichtenberg figure across the page. One of the most enigmatic characters from the Magnus Archives is Simon Fairchild. Now, you've got this old-timer. He's pushing a century and looking like he's seen it all. He's a living relic of the past. Physically, he's described as this tiny pink skeleton of a man walking around with a cane. But here's the kicker. He doesn't actually need that cane. It's all part of his charm, you see. Personality-wise, Simon's got this knack for putting on a facade of friendliness and charm, even when he's plotting something sinister behind the scenes. Picture your sweet old grandpa, but with a hint of menace lurking beneath that pleasant smile. What makes him truly fascinating is how he manages to maintain his charming demeanor even when he's being downright threatening or malicious. In one instance, while skydiving at age 85, seemingly for charity, Simon turned to the skydiving instructor and quipped, "Enjoy sky blue," as he jumped. The instructor followed, but then realized there was no ground beneath him, only endless sky, where he continued to fall and fall and fall. Eventually, the ground reappeared, and the instructor landed, but then he quit his job on the spot. With the notes and playlist pages complete, we're going to move on to setting up for the 5 weeks of May, and I am going to continue to use my standard setup that I use in my son's journal, this time leaving space in the middle for art. And my art pieces are going to continue the shenanigans of our centenarian, Simon Fairchild. In this particular tale, we have Julian Jennings, a boy absolutely terrified of heights, but who takes a ride in a cable car in Austria with his mother. 2 minutes before the car is due to arrive at the top, it stops, idling on the cable wires as mist rises up around it. Simon Fairchild, the only other passenger in the cable car, opens the seemingly locked door, winks at the young boy Julian, and falls backwards into the vastness of the sky. In another tale, Simon oversees the discovery of a sunken ship. Diving at a depth of 160 feet, one of the divers, Haley, discovers a hole in the engine room. She puts her head through it, and the pressure suddenly increases, almost killing her. She peers into the abyss, and what does she see? Nothing but endless water stretching into darkness like she's staring into the depths of the Twilight Zone. That eerie place where only the faintest glimmers of sunlight reach, and humans can barely survive. But here's where things get really intense. Amidst the darkness, she catches sight of this massive shadow looming in the depths. It's so huge that she can't even see where it begins or ends, like some ominous hand slowly inching closer. Like many entities, the Vast also has a supernatural book associated with it, one from the infamous Leitner Library. Bound in calf leather in the 1800s, the spine is embossed with faded gold letters, and the pages appear to be far, far older, even as far back as the 1600s. Inside is a poem written in Latin about an enormous monster. It also has woodcut images of cliffs, mountains, a tower, and a starless sky. The author is unknown. The name of the book is Ex Altiora, and it is known to smell of ozone and induce vertigo in those who read it. The Vast also has a ritual. Back in the 1800s, Simon Fairchild had this wild idea. He cooked up this ocean-based ritual for the Vast, calling it the Awful Deep. Simon and his crew diving deep underwater in a specially designed diving bell with a group of sacrifices in tow. The whole thing ended up being a bit of a dud. Back then, people weren't as terrified of the deep ocean as they are now, so the fear factor just wasn't there. Plus, to add insult to injury, a pesky hunter showed up and crashed the party. Simon himself even admits it wasn't the brightest idea he's ever had. But Simon's not one to give up easily. He's got another idea, bigger and bolder, something that takes place in outer space. And he thinks he's going to need at least another century or so before he can give it another shot. And that is going to wrap up our setup for The Vast. The Shakespeare quote this time comes from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 5, Scene 1. Next month is June, which is Kenny's birthday month, so it's going to be his favorite entity, which, if you've been around on this channel for a little while, or you go back and look at some of his previous videos, you might be able to guess. But tell me in the comments below, do you have a fear of heights, a fear of falling, a fear of your own insignificance? And if you're not feeling the fear factor, just go ahead and leave me a cloud emoji down in the comments so that we can all enjoy blue sky together. Thank you for continuing to come on this journey of the Magnus Archives entities through 2024. If you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.